Hey, this is Chris with Big Sexy Outdoors. And whether you're cutting up your favorite vegetables for your favorite herbivores, or slicing some onions for some good old-fashioned sandwiches, and in fact, these knives are so easy to use, you won't even have to ask her to make you a sandwich. Okay? You can use the slicer, cutting up your favorite meats. Use your chopper. Really get in there. All of these are brought to you by Matthew Blade Works, and he has this special Christmas set on sale. Use the BSO for getting $50 off. Thanks again.
Before we start tonight's show, if you could all join me in a moment of prayer. Dear Father, we ask that you bless this podcast. We ask that you bless this month, the next 4 Mondays of spectacular women in the outdoors. Lord, we ask that you take it and you inspire youth, inspire other women. And Lord, we ask that you bless these ladies. We ask that you bless our viewers. And we thank you for everything you do. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right, guys. So we are live and we are ready to go. We bring to you tonight Megan Lockwood.
Hello, everyone.
So, Megan, we are going to let you kind of take the show, which is my favorite part. We're going to let you tell us about yourself and what you do.
Okay. So getting right off into it, my name is Megan Lockwood. I am self-proclaimed huntress, trapper. I grew up in the state of Michigan. I moved down to Cincinnati, Ohio in 2018, but was born and raised in Michigan. 4-H, grew up on a farm, did all that kind of stuff. What got me into the outdoors was my mom. I was raised by a single mom. She got me into 4-H, first showing horses and then livestock. But when I was 10 years old, she signed me up for archery. Not coming from a background with any shooting in the history, my grandfather wasn't a hunter. My father wasn't present at that time. That side of the family is not a hunter or anything like that. But my mom thought, here's my daughter. She's an outdoor girl. Let's get her into archery. So she enrolled me in that. I started off with a dart and hunting bow at that time. And my love of archery just grew from there. So I started shooting more and more competitively. I started on the Michigan 4-H state team. So I was doing state level competitions and doing pretty good at that. And it wasn't until around the age 14 when I asked my mom about hunting and if I would be able to kill a deer. And she kind of looked at me like a deer in the headlights and was like, hold up, wait a minute. What are you thinking? How are you going to be able to kill one of those deer with those big brown eyes? She still doesn't understand it, but she's very supportive of it. So I didn't harvest my first deer until bow season of when I was 15. My very first kill ever was a 5-point whitetail buck. And as soon as I shot him, I heard him crash about 30 yards away and a little 6-point came out. And Michigan tags, you can have a combo license, right? So I had 2 buck tags and I could have used my first one on my 5-point and used the other one on whatever deer I wanted to. But he came in and I let him eat and I didn't even take the shot. I was so geeked that I had already killed one that I didn't need to take a second one. So that really just sparked my interest in hunting. That's all she wrote after that. Like every season after that, I was out there doing my own thing. My mom, she is very supportive, but she's not about that life. She's not getting out there. She's not teaching me anything. She's just like, you go do it, girl. You got this. It wasn't until I moved down to Cincinnati, Ohio, that I started nuisance trapping like full time and became a business owner of a wildlife removal company. And we're going on our 6th year and it's going pretty strong. So, but trapping's really my first love. And I started that, trapping raccoons at the farm, and then I started running a fur line. I did more so of that like through high school. And like on New Year's Eve, we'd be having a New Year's Eve party and I would be in the barn skinning raccoons. Everybody else is in the house and here I am outside just doing my thing, usually by myself, just going to town. It wasn't until 2012 when I started water trapping. So all the years prior to that, it was just a land trapper, raccoons, possums, skunks, coyotes, fox, that kind of thing. And when I got into water trapping in 2012, that just sparked that interest.
So I got to ask, trapping's your love. What got you into water trapping? What made you want to start it?
Well, I lived in Sanilac County, Michigan at that time, and the farmers, they field tile their fields. And so the muskrats, they just get in that field tile. And coming from a farming family, very familiar with the damage that is caused by them. And so I just went around and asked all my farming friends if I could trap their ditches. And I researched the heck out of it. That's how I got into trapping to begin with, was just reading books and researching and going to the public library and getting on the internet. At that time, it was dial up, and seeing what I could find online about trapping and how to get started. So
no one taught you that. That's something you self-taught yourself.
Yep. Self-taught water trapping, self-taught land trapping, self-taught hunting. Like, it's just something that I feel is within me, and when I set my mind to it, I'm gonna do it, type thing. So,
well, it looks like you're doing pretty well. We watch your stuff a lot, so it looks like you figured it out. I'm going to stick up for you and say I think you figured it out by now.
Yeah, and I've been blessed the last couple years to do like the national show, the NTA convention. The first one I was at was the Lima convention as a demoist, and a friend of mine, Linda White, and a couple other ladies like Laura Guinea, we all joined up and created the She Side, which is an NTA affiliate. And we just feature women trappers and offer them a demo, come do a show. It's not separate. It's all one thing, but at the same time, like, it's more intimate setting, which I think some people need that. Instead of like 50 people asking questions, you might have 12 people asking questions, and you kind of get a little bit more into detail that way. So we started that in Lima, Ohio. And then I was asked to do a demo at the NTA convention in Escanaba, Michigan this last year in 2023. And that was on the main stage, and I did raccoon nuisance work. So Jonathan and I built this demo situation where it looks like a roof and a gutter line, and how raccoons actually access your house versus, just trapping a raccoon at the corn pile or out of your barn. This was showing, this is a juncture where they're getting in. So that was pretty cool as well. And I get to go do a Wisconsin show at the end of February, and it's just for nuisance control operators, and I get to do a demo there. So that's pretty cool too.
Now this is now your job. So you took something you absolutely love and you turned it into your everyday job. How awesome could that be?
Yeah, and it is like, before we started this company in 2019, I was working in the medical field, and I started that when I was in 10th grade of high school. I got my certified nurse's assistant and just worked my way up the line. And finally, when I moved, I was did travel nursing. That's what brought me to Cincinnati originally. And I was coming down here for like 4 years on and off, for a couple weeks at a time, up to a couple months at a time. And it was just it was a great job. I love the traveling part of it. I travel still all the time, everywhere. And so I met Jonathan here in Cincinnati, which moved me here permanently. And I did a little bit of nursing after I was here, probably for about a year. And then we started our company. I was just so burnt out of the nursing field. So yeah. And now I get to do what I love doing 365 days a year. It doesn't feel like work, even though it is work. There are still days where I'm like, dang, I have to go to work. But, that's because I'd rather be doing something else. But I really do enjoy my job.
So I got to ask the question. I know everybody out there is wondering, hearing this. Who started this business? Was it him or was
No.
it your idea?
It was, I would say 50-50, both are right.
So 50-50. I didn't know if it was your love that started it or if he had a love prior to you.
So he was a plant pest control specialist for the Department of Ag here in Ohio.
Bingo.
And so he had the whole insect side of it. So he was working on invasive bug species projects, and he was in Massachusetts and then here in Ohio, and he's gone everywhere for work with that side of it. And he was topped out in his position at the state level. So what more can you get out of being topped out? And it was just it was working out. Don't get us wrong. It was. And he probably would still be there if we didn't have ARC, but we have ARC now. And so we combine the two. So we don't just do wildlife removal, but we do the insects and rodent side of thing, more extermination and like pesticides and insecticides, that kind of thing too.
That's pretty amazing that you both had a love that you could put together.
Right.
And not only do you do something you love, but you get to work with someone you love. So that's pretty cool. I think that's an amazing job. So good for you guys. That's pretty neat.
Sometimes we want to kill each other, but that's an everyday thing. So.
That's marriage itself. Been there, done that.
Right.
Go ahead, Chris.
I just wanted to ask. I've looked at a lot of your stuff, and I've noticed you do a lot of these workshops.
Yeah.
And it amazes me that you're from Michigan.
Yeah.
And you're coming down here to PA, and this is like what, 10 minutes from my house?
You're 30 minutes from me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? What is your favorite thing to teach at these shows?
So like the women on the flyer that's pulled up right there for the PA one. This is our second year doing this one in Auburn, PA. Last year we did it through Women of the Wild, and this year Linda, Laura, and I have gone and created women's trapline training, and it's actually a nonprofit, but like business. It's like business ran, but it's a nonprofit, and so we have different people who reach out to us that say, "Hey, I think this would be a good thing to have in our state," or, "Hey, my company wants to donate towards a class." Like the Indiana one that I have going on here coming up in March, and that's only a half hour from my house. That one was full. It was only 10 spots, but all the costs were donated by two great companies, Bungie Ag and Gemini Ag. They donated all the funding for it, and I'm able to host 10 women, and they get to stay at the Airbnb. They get the trapline training on 2 days. They get a full classroom work session. Like, we're going to go over trappers education, everything. They're going to go home with the manuals so that they can take the test when they're ready to and become trappers themselves. But they're also going to get the breakdown of like why we set in this area, or what we're looking for when we're looking at properties, and what kind of damages these animals can do, and that kind of thing, and why they need to be managed in a way. And trapping, like, I know there's so many red flags about trapping, and it's just the misunderstandings that are behind it. It's something that our country is built on. Furs is one of the very first currencies of the American people. And it just baffles me. I know that we're in the 20th century or 21st century, and we have other forms of currency and other forms of management, but it's a critical thing. And that's what I get the most out of these classes, is because I get to share my love for something. I'm very passionate about it. I'm very passionate about it, from getting that brand new trap, modifying it, and getting your first catch in that trap, all the way to the traps that I've had since 2012 or 2005, 2004, when I first started really trapping. I still use those traps on my line. There are some that are retired that I just don't use because, there's new technology out there. But we get a lot of questions, like the two other ladies, Linda and Laura. We get so many questions on, why do we do it? Don't we think it's inhumane? Well, nature's more inhumane. So if I can pass that knowledge, and even if these ladies come to the classes and don't start trapping themselves, they now have experience. They have the knowledge about it, and they can bust the myths when they hear somebody talking about trapping and the other person doesn't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
we had the one in Tennessee last January, and all the ladies, a majority of the ladies that were there, were new to trapping, just knew what Hollywood portrayed it as. They still thought bare-toothed or sharp-toothed traps were legal. I stuck my hand in a trap one time, and the ladies were like, "Can you do it again so I can get it on video?" So I did it again just for them to show, like, hey, it's going to happen, but you don't need to freak out when it does happen, type thing. And plus it stings, it hurts, the shock of it, but you're going to survive, But a lot of people just have those misconceptions of what trapping is. And that's why we do these workshops. So get more people involved. And also, we get a lot of questions on why we just offer it to women. And it's not that we're trying to be biased or anything like that, but my mom is who got me into the outdoors in her own special way. She wasn't taking me by the hand and showing me how to do it herself, but she was the one who kept sparking. She'd throw that little bit of kindling in my fire, and she just kept stoking that fire, and that's what I want to do for these women, so that when they're at home raising their kids and want to figure out something to do with them to get them more active in the outdoor, there's nothing better than walking up to a trap that you set and caught an animal in. And then these kids get to experience that from their own mom. So I think that's pretty cool. That's why we do it.
That's a blessing. That's really something God gifted you with, and an ability. Yeah. I think that's amazing. I love when we have people on and you realize why they do something.
Right.
I always think that is so fascinating, because the world thinks, you do it for the wrong reasons. But when you actually hear it and you say it, you're like, wow. So God will bless you for that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So Megan, one thing you mentioned was women in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little more about that.
Okay. So I've been with Women of the Wild for about a year and 4 or 5 months now. Women of the Wild is a group of ladies. It's owned by Felicia Ziesmer. She's out of Michigan. A lot of the ladies who are on the team are from Michigan, but we have a girl from Kansas. We have a couple girls from New York. We're kind of spread out all over the United States, and we all come together via social media and like messaging apps. And we all know each other on a personal level because we've all met, we get together and that kind of thing. But it's to get more women into the wild and get more women into what we love to do. Like all the ladies that are on the team, we're very passionate. I say we're very knowledgeable. We all have what we're very proficient in. And then like myself, fishing, I'm like down here, bottom of the barrel. You can't ask me any fishing questions. I would be like, I don't know. But there's girls on the team that are very proficient in that side of things. So we just all come together. That grouper, let me tell you, I got to bait my hook and drop it in, and you just bounce it off the bottom. You don't have to do very much there. I know how to fish, but I'm just not like, yeah, let's go fishing. But I did ask for a fly rod this year for Christmas, and I got one. So that's what I'm going to be working on this year to become proficient in that, I think.
We're going to have to get you some BSO fly shipped out and some, we just made our own new floating.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we'll get you some stuff sent out. That I think you'll enjoy that. We have a lot of fun. Skip loved it. Skip loved it. I don't know
what I'm doing with it at all, but I'm going to give it a go.
You come to PA, we'll hook you up with Skip. Yeah. One of the greatest guys you ever meet. He can give you some real pointers. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'll be there in May. So, and it doesn't seem too far from you.
It's not far. It's not far. Well, actually, we were supposed to come see you last year, and we ended up, I got COVID.
Oh, no.
Chris and I were coming out to see you. We set it up with Matt Brophy, and I had to call Matt, and I was like, Matt, I am so sorry.
Oh, God.
See, look, Eller just commented on the bottom. I got her, Ben. So, so there you go. He'll take good care of you. He loves it. Awesome. He loves what he does.
That picture there with all the ladies, that was our group last year in Tennessee. We had 30 women participants at that course. I taught the water side of it, 2 days of training. Linda taught, and Linda and Jenny, they taught the land side of it. So, and we had everything from trap modification. Jenny's parents were there to show that side of it. I had a friend named Melanie. She was up from Georgia. She taught brain tanning and how to tan your furs naturally, no chemical. So that was a great course. So you guys, I have to ask, in these courses, in that case, you guys actually teach every aspect of trapping. It's not just here's a trap and walk away. You are teaching in depth from start to finish. Everything you can think of. And like Indiana, that's a smaller class because they're staying on site with us, but they're going to get the one-on-one, smaller group, more intimate setting so that they're just confident to go out and do it themselves. This class that you have up there, that was our Pennsylvania last year. That was a great class too. We were able to break off into, I think, 3 small groups, and everybody got traps in their hand. They got to pound them in the ground, and they got to set their traps the way they want to, and they got the critique on how we might change what they did or how it looked good and try it out. That's the thing about trapping. You just have to have confidence in your set that it's going to work, and it might not work overnight, but eventually it'll work, And how I learned was trial and error. So if that wasn't working for a while, I'd just switch it up to something else. And when that caught, I'm like, okay, this is what I need to be doing for the next time. So,
and I'm sure each area is different. And I'm sure you and Linda probably have something a little different you do, right?
Yeah. And every ground's different, And I love working with Linda White because I'm such a water trapper. Like, I'll set land traps, I do nuisance control all year long. I set for coyote, all year, fox all year long. But Linda and Laura, especially Laura, they're up over 200 canine this year. And I think over 200 red fox. And those New York ladies, they are just proficient on them fox. I don't have the population like they do, but I don't know how they do it. They just do it. And
we love Linda. I want you to know we love Linda. We had her on last year. We absolutely loved her.
Yeah, she's fun.
She has a good spirit.
She's my best friend.
a soul is everything to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't care what somebody looks like in the outside. I don't care that, you know, ugly is inside. So you are either beautiful or ugly, and there's no way around it.
Right. And she's beautiful.
Yeah, Linda's one of them. I just loved her. She was fantastic.
Yeah. And she's one who, the she side is what got me into like really trying to get out there and like show ladies that, hey, they can do it. And it just sparked something in me. Like, I am passionate for it. Well, where's that passion going if I'm not out there teaching people or like talking about it? I can be a professional in my own world, but if I can show people on how to, do it and do it confidently and give them the skill set that might be needed one day, you know, you might need to be able to know how to trap or hunt something. And, you know, if I can give them that expertise or just share my knowledge with them, I'm happy with that.
Go ahead, Chris.
So you talked about the different kinds of grounds, the different kinds of traps that are out there, and people do a lot of things a lot of different ways. What's one tool that you would recommend everybody carries with them, no matter what?
Probably a good multi-tool. One tool, you know, and that's just having it there on your side at all times. I used to carry one, and then at the beginning of the season, I couldn't find it, and I just got a new one a couple of weeks ago, and it's on me all the time. You know, you got your pliers there, you got a knife there, you got a little saw there, screwdriver there. You have everything that you might need on the line right then and there. And mine has a little file on it, so that's another plus.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
So this picture sparks a question for me. How big is this beaver? Because this thing looks immense.
I want to say that one was 48 pounds.
I was just saying, it looks like about a 50-pound beaver. That thing is immense.
Yeah. And so a lot of my big beavers, I was like putting this all in perspective. So my biggest beaver I've ever caught was 56 pounds. Okay, but that was in a 330 conibear coming out of a lodge. So the beaver was under the water when it perished. This beaver, 48-pounder, was alive when I got up to it because I used a 280 as a foothold versus a swim through. So he came up to sniff the castor mound that I put there, and he stepped on the 280, and then he was able to get onto the bank. Well, so that beaver was alive, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, if he would have drowned, he probably would have hit that 50-something mark, you know, because he would have had all that water. But that's my biggest problem this year. All my big beaver have been alive when I got there.
I couldn't imagine. I've seen beaver alive, but never one in a trap.
Yeah.
So how are these things aggressive? Are they?
I'm a true believer of every animal has a personality, and there are some that, like the big ones, for some reason, they're usually just trying to get away from you. But I've had some littler ones that just seem like they want to fight you, and they're growling and snapping their teeth at you. And it's like, geez, Louise, just chill out. You know, the big ones, they go down easy, but those little ones, they're scrappers. So
They treat you like you're the piece of wood, huh?
yeah, basically.
That's pretty cool.
That one, I was super pumped about that one.
I'll tell you what, one thing I notice, and I know when I'm looking at pictures, I'm always watching, and I see in every one of your pictures, Linda's the same way, the smiles on your faces.
Right.
I mean, it just shows you guys are loving what you're doing. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So it's totally different. You know, I love hunting. I'm a big bow hunter. Like, I've never killed a whitetail with a gun. I've just arrowed them all. I've only harvested a bear and a pronghorn and a mule deer. Okay, I lied. A mule deer with a rifle, but that was out in Idaho. Totally different scenario there. Not a tree stand hunt. And I kind of, when I'm taking pictures like that buck picture, I really have to remind myself to like smile and not look fake, like a fake smile. I'm happy with it. It's just when I'm trapping, that smile does not quit. I think about, okay, water season here starts December 26th. And I'm scouting and pre-planning 2 weeks in advance of how I'm going to play this all out. December 26th, I'm dreaming of beavers. December 25th and December 26th, I'm out there in the dark setting traps. And it's nonstop because it's just what I love doing. And the smiles they're 100% true. I'll sit there and talk about the beaver that I caught that morning still before I go to sleep that night. It's just, I'm happy about it. Like I've killed a lot of nice deer. I'm happy about it every year, but there's something else about it.
Let's just say I see you got some really nice buck over the years.
Mhm.
Now I'm gonna ask because there's a reason you put them there. Tell us your scents you're showing off.
Oh, so my good friends Justin Jett and Charlie over at Hoosiers Trapping, so or Trapper Supply in Indiana. Those are his scents that they use. Their deer line, and I'm not like for Indiana, it's illegal to bait. Ohio, it's still legal. This deer was not killed over bait. I did mock scrapes, and that's what those are, urines, and they're freshly harvested every single year. So, and you know what you're getting because it's a small deer farm that extracts the urines, and and so I used the mock scrapes. That hunt was pretty cool this year. I didn't really have any private property to hunt. And I was just going to public land hunt it. And I was trying to play out the rut to see like where I wanted to go and that kind of thing. And one of my good friends messaged me and was like, hey, where are you hunting this year? And I was like, I really don't have anywhere. Well, he hooked me up with one of his friends who had property that he had for sale, but nobody was hunting it. And I think 160 acres of land, and nobody had hunted it in 17 years. And so I got the green light to go there, but no cameras, nothing had ever been on that property. And so I left on Thursday night, pulled my camper up there, me and my two dogs. Jonathan went down to one of his properties to hunt, and I went up there. I scouted Friday, hung a stand on Friday afternoon, sat that stand, sat on the ground Sunday morning, got cameras out all over the property on Friday. That deer came out on like early Saturday morning on one of the cameras. And every picture I got, he kept coming in from the left from where that camera was sitting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down into the left where he's coming from and see what I can see down there. And I had already hung the one stand I took. So I went down there, scouted, and it was just scrape after scrape after scrape. And I'm like, okay, I got you. And so I went to town. It's Sunday. It's a little tiny town. Everybody's closed on Sunday. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's downpouring. From the time I got there, Friday it rained all day. It rained the whole time I was there. I killed that deer the 6th day I was there. I hung a stand there Monday afternoon, sat at mid morning on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday night, I was sitting there about 2 hours, and he came right down the hill, and I glassed and ranged, find one tree. I said, if he gets to that tree, I'm pulling back. He got behind it, pulled back, shot him. He ran probably like 30 yards, and he was deader than a doornail. And then the process of me trying to get him out of a big giant hole in a ravine, and I fought for like 3 hours, dragging him after I got him through just hellacious ground. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to pee right here by him and then take on out and go back and come back in the morning when I can actually see 2 feet in front of my face, and got him out the next morning. So
like, he's too big. He can stay here. I'll shoot a little one.
I was like, the coyotes out there were crazy too. That's why I peed by them. I was like, you know what? If they get them, they get them. But hopefully not. And he wasn't even touched. And after the light, the next morning, I probably only had to drag him another 90 yards. And I could have drove my truck down the road and pulled in and got him in the bed of my truck and drove him out. So
it's a beautiful
I was frustrated that night.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And if they're making sense that are bringing something like this in, can they make me a cologne? I can just spray it all
Yeah,
over and take it in.
probably.
Yeah.
Usually smell like deer pee from the time bow season starts until I shoot something. So
It's definitely an aroma most people love.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, look
Oh
at all
my
these.
God.
Yep. So I am a Buckeye or Ohio Big Buck Club scorer. And that was the scoring class. Those were all my classmates. As you can see, I am the only female in there. And that buck that I'm holding, I got to score. So all those deer there
Jesus.
are poached in Ohio.
It wasn't me, but I probably think about it looking at that thing.
right, right. So, yep, those are all deer that were poached and confiscated, and they're
So how'd you
used.
get involved in that, in the scoring system? What made you get involved in that?
So the gentleman behind me that's kneeling down on the ground, that's Bob Wood. He is a county scorer for Boone and Crockett. He is also a scorer for the Big Buck Club. And when I shot my Booner M21, Bob scored it, and we've stayed in contact. And like when he was scoring my deer, I was very interested in it. And I told him, I score people's deer just nonchalantly, give them a rough score. And then this opportunity came up. So he gave me a call and said, "Do you want to take this class?" And I said, "Heck yeah." So now I think there's two or three female scorers for our state. And I'm one of them. So
That's
Wow.
cool by itself.
Yeah.
I think that's really neat. That's something to take
right.
pride in itself. One thing we want to do doing this show is show women that young girls, women, even youth, that this isn't just for guys. It's not just for that. So the fact that you're doing all these things,
Yeah.
and like here you said, I'm the only woman. Look, I love that. That is awesome.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I think, with me getting out there more in the public eye. And I'm not a professional by any means. I'm not a professional hunter. I'm not sponsored. I don't like Hoosiers not sponsoring me, but I use their stuff. And if it's gonna prove to me that it's worth it, then I'm gonna show other people that it's worth it. And I put pride into that. My success can be your success. So I'm going to show you this. It's not a plug from a sponsor. It's just they're my friends. I love them dearly. I'm going to share their stuff type thing. But women need to realize, like, you don't need somebody there holding your hand and showing you along the way. If you have a passion for it, or if you just have an interest in it, get out there and do it, because you're more than capable of doing it. You might have to sit there behind if you don't have anybody to ask questions or to guide you, you might have to sit there and research. But my inbox is always open. I might not respond right away, but it is always open. So I'm always open to any question. You could ask me where to go hunting out west, because I do that like every year, and I will drop you a pin. Like that's the kind of person I am. I just want more people who are kind of the underdog. I hate saying that women in the outdoor are the underdogs, but sometimes we don't get taken as seriously as our male colleagues or our male counterparts. And it's kind of sad, but it's still like that today. It really is. And that's just coming from a woman in the outdoors. I can sit there and talk to people about what I love, but if a gentleman comes up next to me, they want to cut the conversation short with me so that they can talk to somebody else that they might have more in common with. And it's just like, just because I have long hair and I'm a female, and it doesn't mean like this is not my passion and I don't know what I'm talking about, because I like to think I know what I'm talking about. So
I don't know if you've seen that comment, Meg, that came up, but it was a very good comment. Chris, can you pull it back up? Carmen Schneider Cheney says, "Very impressive. You are a bright star for other females. Most respect to you."
thanks, Carmen.
There has been comments popping up, so you'll have to go back through, but I thought that was a really good one to share.
I will.
I thought it was really good one to share with you as we were moving forward.
taking a drink.
Nope, you're fine. So here,
You know,
this is one of
I know
your
the feeling.
pronghorn with the bow, huh?
Yep. Yep. So that was August of this past year in South Dakota. We went out there for antelope archery. One of the hardest things to do is shoot an antelope with your bow. And I'm telling you, it was hard.
How far? What was your range?
I shot him at 53 yards.
Wow, that's a good shot.
That was the second shot. And like, I'm proud of this antelope 100%. Am I proud of my wrongdoings? No, I'm not a blind hunter. I was sitting in a pop-up line over a water hole for this pronghorn. And when he came in, he was walking straight to me. I adjusted my blind window down that I thought I had adjusted it far enough away or far enough down. And when he got to where I was comfortable shooting him and he was kind of acting like he didn't want to come in the rest of the way, I shot. And when I shot, my arrow went through the blind that was like scrunched. So it went through 3 pieces of fabric, hit that antelope.
We've all been there, honey. We've all been there.
Oh my gosh. Immediately, like, it looked like a good hit when my arrow went to him. And I shoot with both eyes open so I can see where my arrow hits. And it looked like a good hit, but when I saw the arrow hit him, he just turned real fast and he ran about 210 yards away. And he's just standing out there in the field. And I'm like, why is he just standing there? What the heck is going on? And I'm glassing him, and I can see my arrow just hanging, fletchings are towards the ground. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Well, I watched him till 5:30. I'm bawling my eyes out. Okay, girls cry. I'm a crier no matter what. And I'm crying because it's not immediate. He hasn't immediately gone down. He was standing out there for 2.5 hours in the same spot, just standing there. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So dark happens. Guide comes out to grab us. It was a guided hunt, but like self-guided. They're not sitting with you. They just, take you where you need to be, where they've seen antelope, and they plop you where you got to go. And so we come up with a game plan for the next morning that I'm going to, they came in and got me early. The sun's going down, but we wanted to keep eyes on the antelope, make sure he doesn't spook off. If he spooked off, then I was going to have to walk out. Or like if he was acting like he was spooking off, I would have had to walk out. And he didn't bust out of there. So game plan for the morning was not to hunt in the morning, but still get up early, go glass to see if he's still in the same spot. Next morning, he's in the same spot, just 20 yards over, laying down. I'm like, what the heck? And so I had to put the stalk on him that morning, and I stalked him 800 yards, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the second shot. He was bedded down with his butt towards me, with his head away, and kind of quartering away. And when I got up to 37 yards, he looked back at me, and I drew back as fast as I could, got it where I needed to before he stood up, shot him. He stood up, fell back down. So I had to work my butt off for that antelope. So I'm super proud of him. But
looks like that broadhead put a heck of a hole in him. I know that.
yeah, I use a fixed blade broadhead. I shoot pretty high poundage, but I prefer a fixed blade over a mechanical.
When they don't open, it's a nightmare. I've had it happen.
Oh, me too. And that's what made me switch to a fixed.
Yeah, fixed are definitely better because there's nothing worse than shooting. I shot one of the biggest buck of my life, and the broadhead never opened. I almost cried. As a matter of fact, I think I did cry that night, to be honest.
I would have cried. I'm a crier.
I think I would have cried.
Yeah, I cried over this one even after I killed him. I was bawling my eyes out because I was like so grateful that I still had the opportunity to go after him a second day and be able to, take him home with me. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I seen you have a couple more pictures on the bottom. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna let you just kind of go through them because
Yeah.
Oh, Chris got a question.
Yeah.
Just one thing real quick, and I'm sorry.
No.
I know BSO doesn't have the attention of the world yet. We'll get there. But if you had the world's attention for 5 minutes, what's one thing you'd want to tell everybody?
What I want to tell everybody,
That's a good question.
male or female or children or youth or whoever it may be. I'm a firm believer and I've already said it, if you have a passion about something or just even an interest in something, just go out and try it. You know, if you're not confident in it and you need guidance, then find a mentor or find a friend that you can just go and do that something with, because you never know what you truly like your skill set truly could be. And I say my mom, she got me into archery. The spark was already there. I watched the Outdoor Channel constantly, and she knew that that was probably the way I needed to go. And she really sparked that interest. But everything else, you know, what a big step it was for me to quit travel nursing to start a wildlife company. And, you know, the first year was great success. It was right before COVID, and then COVID hit, and we thought we were just going to bottom out, and it wasn't going to go anywhere, you know. And COVID was one of our best years. And everybody was home, everybody was hearing the noises. So I truly feel that if you just have interest in something, you need to go figure out if it's for you or not.
And also that shirt is hilarious.
Which one?
The What's Up Suckers?
Oh yeah. Women of the Wild, we have a bunch of fun shirts like for different seasons, and one that's just launching is a coyote that is all strapped up. I forget what the saying is, but mine's coming in the mail. So, but they're pretty cute. So people will have to check out the Women of the Wild .net. We have all our stuff on there.
Definitely. And Chris can throw that across the bottom of the screen for you as well.
I got you.
I have to ask, so trapping is your passion. I mean, honestly, I hear you talking archery. I see your face. I can tell you enjoy it, but it's not your love. And you're right. I can read it. I'm not going to lie. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite water animal to trap?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to throw it at you. I know it's probably tough.
I'm still going to go with muskrats.
Yeah?
Yeah. And the only reason is because that's what really got me into water trapping. I love catching beaver. I love, that's my one and only otter that I've caught. And that was on a nuisance job in Kentucky. And I've been trying all season to catch an otter. And for some reason, a beaver always clogs up my otter set, which I'm not complaining, but I really want to catch a dang otter. And we only get one in my area. So I'm really trying to the end of season to catch that. But muskrats is where it's at for me. And it's just because that's what got me started. And, you know, I was toting around a 2 and a 3-year-old in a canoe and with all my stuff and doing it every day.
So you were actually toting around your kids in a canoe.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty impressive, because I'll tell you what, I'm fat, and just me being in a canoe doesn't work.
Bundling up these little kids, you know, they were in the fur shed with me, skinning, and I would just, you know, make them busy. And I truly feel like my kids, even now today, like you can see that they're interested in it. Like they're interested in hunting. The trapping, I think, will come, but they're not 100%. Let's go trapping. But my daughter, she'll put some hours in the fur shed, where my son's like, no. And then my son will want to go deer hunting more than what my daughter will. You know, they're individual.
To each their own, they're learning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're learning. So,
and you know what my biggest thing is, like my kids have different fathers. And so my daughter's father we're very similar. He's a big hunter. And my daughter is the one who's kind of like, not really my thing. And my son, his father is more, he's more rural now, but when I met him, he was more city, He grew
Okay.
up in the city. We were different ends of the spectrum on that. And my son's the one who's like, Mom, let's go deer hunting. Mom, he'll try all the crazy stuff that I make, the beaver stew. And my daughter's like, my daughter doesn't like elk meat, which is crazy to me because
So good.
everybody loves elk. And she's like, no, I don't want elk. I'm like, what? But hey, whatever.
I get it, man. Every kid has their own thing. You know what I mean? Their own passion, their own taste, their own personality. So
Right.
I get it.
Right.
Go ahead,
I
Chris. I seen your point.
I noticed you have all these trips that you do. Ben, you could get something out of this bow fishing one, from what I understood.
I can't hit him. Meg.
No, he broke a bow in the first 30
I
seconds.
broke a bow in the first 30 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Swear to God.
The bow fisherman charter that we go to, or that we partner up with Women of the Wild, is Hunter's gonna kill me. They'll come to me, but it's in Wisconsin, and he is just amazing. His first mate that was on our trip was Zach, and they both were amazing, very experienced. We had brand new girls. I took one of my best friend's daughter, who was 11, on that trip. She was killing and shooting fish like she had done it, every day. And it was just from the instruction from Hunter and Zach. Oh, Modified Outdoors in Wisconsin.
There it is. She got it.
Yeah.
Hunter, you heard that. She didn't forget, Hunter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know we're getting near our hour mark, but I have to know. So I when this picture came through of this buck, I was like, holy crap. Tell us about it.
I had 2 years chasing that thing. The first year he had an eye guard that came off his brow, where his split brow is. That was like 6 to 8 inches long. And then the following year in 21, he grew more typical, with that little bit of split brow. And we called him the Megan buck because nobody could kill it but me. But if it walked under you, and I was going to be mad, but I wouldn't be that mad, because he's a matriarch buck, kill him type thing. This buck, I was like really standoffish about hunting him early season. So I waited until November. Like the first week of November, we hung a new stand because this buck would bypass the one stand all the time. He'd like wind check it. And so we took another stand, hung it back in the woods about 60 yards behind. And I hunted it. We rock, paper, scissored it to see who got to hunt that stand. And I won that, to hunt that stand. So Jonathan and I went out. We stayed there the night before, decided not to hunt that morning, bad wind, went to work, got a camera picture of him going to bed at 11 o'clock, hurried up with work that day, and got back there about 4 o'clock. I'm like, you know what? I better shoot my bow real quick. Good thing I did. I was shooting to the left, adjusted it down, marked new marks on my tape, for my adjustable sight. Jonathan got me out to the stand about 4:30. He drove me out in the gator, out to the stand. I got in the stand, climbed up, had my bow and my rattling antlers tied to each other, pulled it up. As it was coming up, it was clanking all around, lots of noise. Had a new bow hanger to stab into the tree and try to crank it in because that stand was brand new. Couldn't freaking get it in the hickory tree. So I threw it down, made a bunch of noise there, hung my bow up, knocked an arrow, hung my bow up, hung my strap up in, whatever it was. And as I hung my bow up, I just out of my peripherals got a shadow of a deer coming down the ridge. And I'm like, I'm just going to grab my bow just in case. Like I had planned not to even be on my phone that hunt. So I had a book in my bino harness. I hadn't even taken my bino like the book out of the harness. I hadn't even moved from facing the tree yet. This is how fast it went. So I grabbed my bow. I don't know what buck it is because there's a huge hickory tree next to me and then another one next to that, and it's perfectly in line with it. It came down that trail, still hidden. At 13 yards, I just get a glimpse of this side sticking out. I know exactly what buck that is. So I drew back as he was still behind that tree. He stepped out. I put my pin on him between the shoulder blades. I was gonna spine him, I will admit, and then ethically kill him after. But at the last minute before I released my arrow, he just stopped and looked over and up into the field. I shot him in a frontal shot, right through the jugular. It actually blew the top of his heart off. And when I hit him, he fell on his side, hopped up. The blood was just splurting out. I'm immediately crying, like shaking. I see him jump about 30 yards behind me where I thought he was jumping into honeysuckle. So I get on the phone to Jonathan, bad service. I'm like, you need to come get me. He was like, why? I was like, I'm going to fall out of this tree. I just shot the big one. Come get me, you know? And he's like, you want me to come get you now? I was like, yeah, I'm going to fall out of the tree. I had my safety harness on. It wasn't going nowhere. And he comes. I'm still shaking. Like, the whole tree stand shaking. You can see the blood trail. It's just huge. I climb down. We track them about 15 yards, and I'm looking at the blood, and, you know, my eyes are on the ground. And Jonathan, like, my recovery videos on my Facebook page, but he goes, I see him. And then I turn around and look at him. I'm like, what? He's like, I see him. And I look up, and there he is, just laying there. And I'm like, you'd have to go back and watch it because I'm just sobbing. There's a mild language. There's not mild. There's language in that video.
Sorry.
It was just amazing. And like that deer, I thank God for him, of course. And then, you know, it was just utter shock. And I tell everybody, I grieved that deer for like 3 days. It didn't hit, like, you know, I'm super happy and super pumped, but at the same time, I just felt this deep sadness also because I chased that deer for 2 years. The game is over. I won the game, and I get to look at him every day for the rest of my life because, of course, he's on the wall. But yeah, it was just, you know, I'll relive it for the rest of my life. And thank God I have a video. And for a long time, that video made me cry. I would say probably a year.
All right, we're not going to make you cry, right? I want to make sure we're good.
No, it won't make me cry. You know, there's certain times where I'm like, oh, you know, but it was pretty amazing.
Play this baby, Chris.
I see him. I see him.
Am I right?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy crap. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's mild.
Yeah.
Right.
It was.
Holy fucking shit!
Yeah.
I want you to know my reaction probably would have been the same. I'm not going to sit and lie to you.
Yeah.
Mine probably would have been worse. So I'll just shoot it straight that your language was mild compared to what I would have done.
Well, like, I have Snapchat videos and stuff where, you know, I kill them and I'm sending Snapchats out to my best friends, you know, all the people who, you know, mean the most to me. And then I watch back at the Snapchat videos and they still make me cry because, you know, best days of my life. The birth of my kids, shooting big deer, and every animal I catch in a trap. Every day.
Those are good highlights of your life. Don't let nobody
Right,
take those from you.
right.
I agree. Those are
Yeah.
great highlights of your life.
Yeah. So
Great moments. I'll tell you what, that's phenomenal. That is a big buck.
this,
Now, I'm not going to lie to you. So Jonathan isn't here to answer this, but I'm going to say that he probably was really upset that he lost rock, paper, scissors that day.
well, I told him too. I was like, I won't be mad if you want to sit there. You can sit there. And he was like, no, you sit there. Just sit there. And I was like, are you sure? You can sit there. No.
And then you called him and he was like, why in the heck did I be nice to her?
Yeah. Yeah. And like the last year's buck, I killed that one. I sat one day for that one. I pinpointed him down. I want that deer. I'm only sitting for that deer. Came in on the very first day, shot him, ran 30 yards. I thought I missed him. He was 8 yards from me. I sat on a 5-gallon bucket next to an Osage orange tree and I killed that one. So, like, I love it's almost with deer hunting, like, I'm very passionate about elk hunting, bear hunting, but deer hunting, I've done it and done it and done it. And like every year I'm going to continue to do it because I love it. But at the same time, I just want to go down and keep checking the animals off my list,
It makes sense. I started, I love archery hunt, one of my favorite things to do. And then I found this passion for predator hunting at night and crow hunting. And there's things I've never done. And I'm like, this is awesome. Why have I never tried this?
Right. I know.
So it gets to be super cool when you start realizing all the things out there
Right.
for people to try.
Yeah. That's like this year I'm planning a couple spring bear trips. I love bear hunting. I love eating bear. I love everything about bears. And so I'm just in the works of finishing up applying for certain draws and, planning those hunts out. So
your favorite animal to hunt? I know you're a bow hunter only.
mm-hmm.
I gotta ask. I asked for your water trap. And what's your favorite animal to hunt? Is it bear?
Yeah.
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 Now, what makes bear your favorite?
Everything about bears. I don't know. Everybody compares them to giant raccoons, and they can be a giant raccoon to everybody else. But there's something about a bear. They're a top predator. They kill 100 elk a year, 100 fawns a year, one single bear. And since I like to kill elk and deer and all of that, I want to go out and manage those bears too. And I don't know, there's just something about bears. I say I probably was a bear in another life. There's just something about bears that I really
You're a
do.
bear in another life. I'm not picturing it. I like it, but I'm not picturing
it. They also like to live in the craziest, nastiest of ground. And, it's a real challenge to find them and hunt them. So I like
that makes sense. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
like I like out west hunting versus Midwest hunting. I'd rather be out west hiking mountains than sitting in a tree stand.
Really? So you'd rather do all the hiking and the walking?
Mm-hmm. Hiking with a bow is what I call it, with the opportunity maybe of killing something.
The thing is with most outdoors men and women, it's just being outside means more than the harvest. The harvest is a bonus. I know me. I could sit in the ground or in the tree 1,000 times. If I harvest, great. If I don't, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, same. I've ate plenty of expensive tags, so I still every year go out and do it. And if I come home empty-handed, next year I might not be able to do it. God forbid something happened to me and I'm not able to make it there. At least I was able to go last season, and have those memories. The first year I went to Colorado solo was 2011 and went out there by myself and walked mountains with a bow. And now I have Jonathan who goes with me, and I go bear hunting by myself and he goes places by himself. And it's just something we like to do.
So you do a lot of solo hunting then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's one thing as being a woman in the outdoors is I feel like I have a strong skill set and strong drive for it, and not every lady is gonna have that drive for it. But if I can be a positive role model and show people, I'm not very big, 130, 5'2", and I'm able to throw a pack on and go out there and camp 4 or 5 miles in by myself and then continue to hunt every day, so can you. And it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, you can still do it. That's what I really, really just want people to realize. Like, I get a lot of pushback as a woman. Even with the trapping classes, we get a lot of push. Like, why don't we open it up for other people? Well, because it's easier for other people to get into it versus, I've been in that uncomfortable situation as a woman trying to ask questions and trying to get that one-on-one attention from a male counterpart, and it just doesn't happen. And if I hate to say a safe space because it's not really a safe space, but if you feel comfortable coming to me versus going to Joe Schmo, come to me about it, because I'm going to tell you straight up and I'm going to give you every ounce of knowledge that I have, and I'm not going to hold anything back. I get a lot of people that just hold things back from others because they don't want them to be more successful than what they are. And that's just not how I am. I'd rather see you successful too.
I think all your workshops, you and Linda do, and again, we had Linda on last year. I think from watching you guys and listening to you guys, I would say that it's definitely something people notice. It's definitely something we have noticed, and we commend you for it. I never have a problem commending anybody for a great job well done.
Yeah.
And I commend you both, because one thing I think personally, and I don't know, Chris would feel about this or you, but I personally feel that there aren't enough of women in the outdoors who do it. I feel like too many are intimidated, and too many feel that, well, I shouldn't be doing it. Maybe my husband will be mad, or maybe it's not for me. And we express the same thing. We think every woman should try it, and we will help as well. We have no problem helping.
Yeah.
I'll sit right with them. It don't matter to me. I'll forfeit anything. It doesn't matter to me. I love it.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. If you're with me on a hunt and you want to take the shot and you're licensed to take the shot, have at it. I've done my fair share, but if I can just, like my mom did, stoke that fire. If I can stoke that fire for somebody, that's what I'm going to do. And that's one thing Women of the Wild does. We stoke those fires. Our team just sits there constantly, come along with us. Come on. Don't be scared to do it. Just do it. So
yeah, I think that's awesome. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I hope that we accomplished our goal here tonight. I know we're over our hour mark.
Sorry.
And I hope, listen, I told you we're going to hit over an hour. I already knew it was going to happen.
I can talk and talk and talk. So
our goal is 45 minutes. I don't think we ever hit our goal. So don't apologize for anything. I think when Linda was on, we were like an hour and 22 or something when we ended. So what I'm going to say is there anything out there that you feel, before we end this, that you feel you need to say to reach somebody in any way possible, or any advice that you might have to those women who say, I'm not sure, or that man out there tries to override that they're not good enough to try it or do it?
Like I said, join my inbox. I'm on here. You can always message me. I'm a friendly person. Like I said before, I'll give you every bit of knowledge that I have. But then I also am going to tell you, you can go out and do it yourself. But I also have a bunch of resources from women all over our nation who would be willing to just scoop you right under their wing and take you along with us. And that's what a lot of the women's groups do, is just because we've all had that pushback, you're just not good enough. It's not that you're not pretty enough. You're just not up to that level. And sometimes it's just because of our chromosome makeup. And that's how I see it. That's how I feel, and I've always felt like that. I hate to be this way, but I used to dislike not girls, but girls that got into my way of life only because they're significant other. And my mindset has changed so much since my early 20s to now is that girlfriend, wife, whatever it may be, who got into it because their boyfriend or their husband, that's one more person that just makes the outdoors a better place. And I'm so glad that my mindset changed on that, because I get to go on all these trips with Women of the Wild, with women whose husbands and boyfriends, and I have gotten them into it or have sparked that interest. And now they want to learn from other women because we do things differently. The safety aspects are all there, but we just do things differently. We're built different. So everything just is different for us. Essentially, it's the same, but it's different, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I have daughters who hunt. That makes perfect sense.
So I just say, try it. Just do it. Just find somebody that you can, I hate to say latch on to, but somebody who's willing to show you their ways or to guide you the way you want to go, or get expertise from other people than just even that one person, because not everybody does the same thing over and over again. We're not all the same. So
that's good advice, and I super appreciate you sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
It means the world to us. Megan, I hope you enjoyed being on here tonight.
I did. I appreciate the opportunity.
We appreciate having you. We were super excited. I'm not going to lie. We said we couldn't kick it off any better with anybody else.
Well,
so it means the world to us. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you
and sharing your experiences and what got you involved. And our goal tonight is to, again, reach other women, young ladies, or even youth, even guys that think that might be intimidated, that say, oh, well, if ladies can do it, so can I. I'm okay with that. Anybody we can reach to put in the outdoors. That's our goal tonight.
Everyone's welcome. One more thing. You know how everybody's saying that the outdoor industry is just getting flooded with everybody and their brother wants to be a hunter or a fisherman, or, why not welcome them?
Amen. We say the same thing. Amen. Preach it.
Why not welcome them in? Why not teach them, educate them on the ways of doing it? And it's not just about the kill and the thrill of it. It's not just about the fish that you catch or the animals that you catch. But it's about taking care of the ecosystems, picking up the trash, going on hikes and taking care of nature. We're taking from nature, and we as outdoorsmen and outdoors women need to be putting back into nature at the same time. Like, I've instilled that even in my kids. So if I get a newbie who is just out there on public land hunting for whitetail and they see shotgun shells from the bird hunters, they're going to pick those hauls up. I want that kind of outdoorsman. I want us as a whole to welcome people in and teach them the right ways of doing things. So.
Yeah, I agree totally. Absolutely. Chris and I say this all the time. There's too many guys who knock the next guy instead of partnering up and becoming something great. Yeah. Think about how great we could be as a unit versus as, separate individuals fighting. I don't care if you shot with a crossbow, a compound, a rifle. I could care less. If you killed it ethically and legally, that's all I care about.
Yeah, I don't care what camo covers your butt either. If you're out there doing it, you don't need to have the best gear of the best. You just need to be out there doing it ethically and legally.
Yep, I agree totally.
Yeah.
Megan, I super enjoy having you on. And again, I appreciate it. I can't stress enough. Your smile talking about trapping definitely lightens up your room. So we appreciate that greatly. And honestly, we're going to try to come out and see you again. So that's our goal. Chris's goal and we want to see you and Linda in person, come out and personally shake your hands and talk to you. So we are going to try to set that up again this year as long as COVID stays away.
Yeah, deal. And even if it's after the workshop, we'll come stop by too.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us, and God will bless you for the great things you're doing.
Same.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.